Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Small Business Roundtable. My name is Mariela Osario, and I'm the Career and Small Business Services Specialist at the Long Branch Public Library. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's topic will focus on entrepreneurship for veterans with important leaders from across the small business spectrum. Now, our roundtable is a shoot-off of our Back to Business program, which the library launched back on May 1st of 2020 as a response to the pandemic. And its aim is to assist small businesses and startups by offering a comprehensive set of training tools and resources so that they can expand their online presence. Now I'm going to, before we begin, I just want to remind everyone to please mute your microphones. The mute button is on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. After the discussion, the panelists will be happy to answer any questions or any comments you may have. So thank you so much for that. And now I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me one second. Okay, and oops. There we are. Okay, we have Mitzi Chavo. Mitzi is a U.S. Navy Reserve veteran and a mindset strategist, author, and career transition coach. With over 35 years in the business sector, primarily in the human resources area, she brings a score of experience and expertise from agriculture to the oil field. Mitzi earned her master's degree from Colorado State University, Global in 2014, Organizational Leadership, Strategic, Innovative, and Change Management. Her husband is a U.S. Navy retiree, and her son is currently on active duty with the U.S. Army. She donates her time and skills to several veterans programs, including Stand Beside Them. Rafael Mata is the vice president. First of all, he's the board member and vice president of diversity and inclusion at the New Jersey State Veterans Chamber of Commerce. He is also the vice president of business development and co-founder of Gambit Services. Rafael, as the co-founder of Gambit Services, specializes in strategic solutions for government, business, nonprofit, and educational institutions whose mission is to empower and uplift the social and economic conditions of disadvantaged and underrepresented populations. In his role as Vice President of Business Development, he is responsible for the growth and strategic partnerships for the firm. His insight and experience as a business owner of a consulting firm and construction company has allowed him the wherewithal to design pragmatic solutions that help businesses navigate the workforce and economic development programs created to assist them. He has also established himself as the bridge between government and the private sector. Rafael graduated from the City University of New York. He is a certified grant manager and grant writer. He began his career in social services at the Southeast Bronx Community Organization, a New York City Housing Authority contracted community agency where he served as the legal liaison. Sarah Falcone is Air Force veteran and Stand Beside Them work study professional. Sarah is an Air Force veteran who proudly served for 9 years working in air transportation and recruiting. She is also a military spouse and a new mom. Sarah is currently pursuing her master's degree from Point Loma Nazarene University in organizational leadership. Sarah's master's thesis researches coaching recently separated veterans as they search for a career after their service. After leaving the military this past year, Sarah felt a strong calling to help veterans and their families. Understanding firsthand the difficulty veterans and their spouses face, Sarah is thrilled to be able to help veterans and their spouses become more aware of organizations that can help them with entrepreneurship. Victor Alvarado is a disabled veteran outreach program, New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Vic, or Top, is a retired First Sergeant Army Airborne Ranger who served for 24 years, assigned to the Light Recon Group in Hawaii. He was deployed in Colombia, South America, Panama, Grenada, and Somalia, and many other missions. For the past 15 years since his retirement from the military, he has worked for the state of New Jersey with the Department of Labor Veterans Services in Monmouth County as a DVOP. His focus is working with the homeless, disabled, low-income, Vietnam-era transitional services members, caregivers, and veteran spouse to obtain suitable employment and to help them further their education or to get vocational certificate. He also helps with career coaching and resume preparation. He is a master in all veterans, federal and state benefits. Vic has a Bachelor of Science in Communication and Mass Media from the University of Florida. According to the Department of Employment and Training in the state for New Jersey, Victor is ranked #1 DVOP. As a former First Sergeant, he cares for his veterans like he cared for his soldiers. He is the go-to person. Kiana Rodriguez is a career strategist and coach. Kiana makes it her mission to partner with individuals and organizations to empower professionals to successfully navigate their career journey. Whether it's career development or career planning, she thrives on developing people and uncovering what's next in their careers. The results are creating focus, direction, and achieving career success. When Kiana is not coaching, you will find her enjoying time with her 3 children, playing sports, or exploring nature. Dr. J.T. Kostman is a U.S. Army veteran, data scientist, mathematician, psychologist, inventor, PE VC board member, MBA professor, business mentor, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Protected by AI. JT has had a somewhat unusual professional and personal journey. An honorably discharged disabled veteran of the U.S. Army Special Forces, HUA, he is now widely regarded as one of the world's leading experts in applied artificial intelligence. JT and his teams have developed world-changing solutions at the intersection of technology and psychology for organizations ranging from Samsung to the CIA, to Silicon Valley startups, and for his own companies. In the course of a Horatio Alger meets Robert Ludlum adventure story, from his time as a homeless kid living on the streets of New York to becoming an advisor to President Obama and a highly successful entrepreneur and investor, Dr. Kostman has successfully navigated the very same road every aspiring entrepreneur will have to travel to make their way to the winner's circle. And in the course of that journey, he has made pretty much every dumb mistake that can be made. His passion in semi-retirement has become helping others achieve their own economic and life aspirations. Welcome, panelists. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to stop sharing. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so wait, give me 1 second. So back to our topic. Few things go together better than veterans and entrepreneurship. Many of the traits that veterans develop during their service, such as drive, commitment, accountability, organization, help them become effective leaders when they come home. In fact, veteran business owners play a significant role in the U.S. economy. In 2019, the U.S. Census Bureau reported that veterans own a whopping 5.9% of small businesses in the U.S. with an estimated $947.7 billion in receipts. The best part is that not only do these brave entrepreneurs have an incredible drive to pursue their dreams, but there are also dozens of local, state, and federal programs to help them do it. Okay, and now I would like to turn to our special guests and our panelists. And Mitzi, I'd like to begin with you, if I may. Mitzi, how can a veteran successfully pivot to the entrepreneurial world after serving in the military?
So first of all, thank you so much for having me, and hello everyone that's here in our audience today. Step into who you are. You didn't get through your time in your space without having grit and understanding who you are and what you want. You're going to have to shift and restructure what your focus might be. But once you find that thing that truly, truly brings joy to your heart, there is a place for you as an entrepreneur. You might have to shift a little, looking at, your goal and how you're going to get there. But the truth is, every bit of who you are and how you got to where you are is what's going to drive you to success in your business.
Great, thank you so much. And Rafael, can you please share with us some of the advantages of running a veteran-owned business?
Well, I can tell you a lot of the work that we do at the New Jersey State Veteran Chamber of Commerce has to do with helping businesses take advantage of their veteran status. So as many people probably have heard, you can become a veteran certified business, you can become a disabled veteran certified business. Like never before in New Jersey, there has been a much bigger emphasis on making sure that government spending, corporate spending, both on the federal, state, and all three actually, the federal, state, and local level, they're really looking to increase the amount of dollars that they spend on veteran businesses. It would be very surprising to the folks at this presentation, as well as anywhere, honestly, that in a lot of instances, there is $0 being spent on veteran businesses, and they're not taking advantage of these certifications. It's a very low number of certified businesses in New Jersey, both disabled or veteran owned. And a lot of the challenges that veterans are having are navigating the space of where do I go to get the money once I do get certified. So there are a lot of advantages, and I'm here to provide any additional information on that stuff.
Great, thank you. JT, we know veterans have the leadership skills to be successful business owners, but what obstacles do veteran entrepreneurs face?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we do. Veterans all bring those characteristics that are required for most successful entrepreneurs. I went back and I refreshed the list for myself, and I found things listed like being motivated, dedicated, creative, persuasive. These are the things that make us who we are. This is the things that made our military careers. But I think too often, when people leave the military and they enter the private arena, they think they have to put that aspect of themselves behind.
Yeah.
And nothing could be further from the truth. This is a battle, make no mistake. The enemy is apathy. The enemy is indifference. The enemy is a world that candidly doesn't care about you, doesn't care about your business. You're going to have to fight, and it's okay. But what made you successful back in the military are the same things that make you successful here. And that's not just who you are. Every time I talk to a veteran and I ask them what it is they miss about the military, the answer is some form of the exact same answer. I miss being a part of something bigger than myself. So many people become an entrepreneur and think now it's all up to me and I have to do this alone. And that is the killer mistake. You cannot succeed alone. You can't do this alone. You have to be able to call on a team, call on other resources, call on others to help you succeed. But with that, there's nothing that can get in the way of veterans. The only thing I would add to that is Rafael's, I'll encourage everyone to contact Rafael because those organizations you think are there to help you, frankly, sadly, you're not. The VA is not going to just stand there with open arms and wait for you to come to them. The state agencies are not going to be there with open arms. You need a Sherpa. You need someone who can help guide you and help navigate some of these challenges you're going to face.
I love that metaphor, by the way, with the enemy. Really, really good. So, Victor, I'd like to turn to you. Speaking of the VA, does the VA help veterans start a business, in your opinion? And if not, what resources are available for veteran startups?
Actually, at the moment, they don't have any type of money to help veterans with starting their own business. However, what I do actually is refer them to the Veterans Small Business Association, and they kind of guide them in how to start that package, that plan. Okay. Also, if they want to have like how you call it, like a street vendor's license, the state will give them that for free. Okay. We also give classes, not us in the veteran organization, but through the Monmouth County One Stop, we actually send them to school to actually learn how to open their own business. Okay, I believe it's a 6-month course, and after that, they should be able to have a plan in place.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, forgive me for interrupting, I'm glad you mentioned that because the Workforce Development Center does have a lot of information and resources regarding furthering your education, grants for certification, or any specific field that you may be interested. And most people qualify. So if anyone is interested, reach out to me. I can give you the contact information, or you can contact the Workforce Development Center directly. But I'll be happy to share that link with you. So thank you for that.
Actually,
And I'm sorry, I think I cut you off. Forgive me for that.
If it's a disabled veteran or a veteran that has any barriers, then contact me and I'll be able to submit necessary paperwork. So we could get the ball rolling. And being a disabled veteran, we go on top of the list for everything.
Excellent. And as a matter of fact, I do have your contact information. So with your permission, I'll be happy to share that with whoever reaches out.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. Kiana, I'd like to turn to you. Now, the USAA offers a myriad of financial services to its members. But the question is, does the USAA offer small business loans?
Thank you so much for asking this question. USAA is an amazing financial service, and I know that they do offer so many different services. However, they do not offer small business loans. They offer personal loans that they say that you can use for your business. However, it's a personal loan, so you cannot combine the two. Now, I know that there are other institutions that do support small business loans, and one of them is Navy Federal Credit Union. So that is something that you can definitely look into when it comes to the small business loan side.
Right. And it's so important because as we were discussing prior to the event, it's really not only for veteran-owned business, but it's literally across the board, whether you're a minority, African-American. There are so many challenges when it comes to financing or starting up a new business. So that is a big challenge. Thank you. Also, Kiana, if I may, I did want to touch upon business insurance, which is another important topic that a lot of small business owners are not aware of, or may have overlooked, or may have decided, you know what, right now I really can't afford it. And there are so many types of insurances out there. Can you expand on business insurance? Can you tell us a little bit about the importance of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for me, I have a coaching practice, and so my insurance looks a little bit different. So depending on what your business is, you should be able to contact different institutions and find out the right type of insurance that you need for your business. And so USAA, they actually do offer small business insurance, and they not only covered like for the business owner, the liability side, workers' comp, so that, you know, the personal cyber liability, umbrella insurance, so, and also commercial auto. So let's say that you have a business where you have vehicles, and then you can go through USA and get commercial auto insurance. So there's so many different insurance that is offered, but it's very important to sit down and speak with someone and find out what insurance you need, how much insurance, and what is really covered underneath that business insurance. Because depending on, again, how your business is set up, do you have a S Corp? Do you have LLC? What type of business do you have, and what insurance will align with that business?
Right. Yeah, it's important to remember that not all insurances are created equal. So thank you for that. Sarah, you are a work-study professional with Stand Beside Them. Please tell us more about this nonprofit and its mission.
Sure. We're a national nonprofit. We were founded in 2013. So when we started, we actually had 8 coaches, and now we have over 190. We have coaches from over 30 states, and 40 of our 190 coaches are actually veterans themselves. So what we offer to veterans, their spouses, and caregivers is free coaching. We offer coaching in career development, executive leadership, health and wellness, life and relationships, but also small business development. All our coaches take on these coaching as pro bono. So veterans, spouses, and their caregivers don't have to pay anything at all. They get up to 12 sessions completely free. If there's any additional sessions needed after that, we always try to work with veterans that need that additional coaching. But as far as small business development goes, it's really helpful. We have over 30 small business development coaches with our program right now. So they talk to veterans and their spouses. They help develop business plans. They help with marketing. They help with assessing your competition, everything that you would need, finances, when you're trying to start a small business.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Mitzi, are there any other skills, factors, issues, or anything else that you can think of that can make or break the success of a veteran-owned startup?
You know, there are so many. The most important skills are something that comes naturally to a veteran: dedication, drive, and determination to never live in destitution. Those base skills stack and really do drive all kinds of things. Factors wise, you really have to know what you want to deliver. And then you have to know how you want to deliver it. But more than that, you need to know your line in the sand. You need to know what you won't go against, where your core values are, because if you build your business within your own ethical pillar, you're not going to go wrong. To stack on that, one of the terms that I have heard many, many times is know your tribe. In case you don't know out there, that just means know your team. Different T words, same outcome. And really drop into the new terminology, especially if you're newly getting out. One thing that I haven't heard mentioned is the Small Business Administration. They have local district or local DC's development centers. The primary one in New Jersey is in Newark, and they have flexible space. They have veteran focused. They will partner you with a veteran mentor that specializes in not only your space, your product niche or your service niche, but also stack you with somebody who's dedicated to working with you and seeing you succeed. And they're a great resource and have so many different opportunities. Thank you.
You know, if you don't mind, I'd like to interject a little bit there on what Mitzi said. First of all, Mitzi, love that expression, know your tribe. That's exactly right, is know your team, know your resources. But to your point about the Small Business Administration, I'm actually here today in my capacity as a new volunteer with SCORE. And SCORE, for those of you who aren't familiar with the organization, it is a part of the SBA, of the Small Business Administration. SCORE is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. Here is, let's get real pragmatic, guys. We're all veterans, and the theory is great, but let's talk about reality, right? Here's why I'm here to talk about SCORE. SCORE is the best kept secret you've never heard of, and it kills me that it's kept a secret and that they're not shouting it from the rooftops, because this is an organization that offers you business mentoring from, wait for it, over 10,000 expert volunteers from all across the country, 250 offices across the US and territories. I did the math. That's about 350,000 collective years of experience, people who have been entrepreneurs, business owners, lawyers, accountants, experts, advisors, people who have worked in the field for 30, 40, 50 years, who have made I thought I've made every possible dumb mistake you can make as an entrepreneur. I assure you collectively, we have at SCORE. But here's the best part, it's free. You're already paying for it. You pay taxes. The SBA sponsors this. It doesn't cost you literally a dime. You can pick up the phone. And in fact, I'm going to give you not just the SCORE website, I'll share with you in the resources, but my email address, contact me. You can have people who have done it all, who have made all these errors. You have an on speed dial tribe, to Mitzi's phrase, which I love. You have a tribe right at your disposal, there for you. The biggest mistake veterans make is not availing themselves of those opportunities, of thinking they have to go it alone. Final note on that, the stupidest ad campaign in the history of the military was from my branch, the Army, when they came out with that dumb thing, an army of one. There ain't no army of one. Right? If it's one, you're not an army.
You nailed it.
I think the first sergeant will disagree with me, Vic. It takes a tribe, right? It takes a village. Call on the tribe. You've got at your disposal not only SCORE. One of the things to think about here as you're navigating this field is we have, hang on, I have the numbers right here. I put them up for myself. 18 million veterans in this country. 18 million of your brothers and sisters there to help you. 330 plus million Americans, all of whom say they want to thank us for their service. Well, if you want to thank us, help us. Help us not call on that.
I'd like to jump in real quick since Doc JT has blown this up. Hey, if you really think you don't have a tribe, you're looking at a stack of us right here. We are volunteering and donating our time because we are your tribe. It's your job to make sure that we know we're on your team.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mitzi. And speaking of the SBA, I want to direct this next question to Victor. So Victor, speaking of the SBA, the total value of government contracts is an estimated $4 trillion annually, making it a huge area of opportunity for veteran-owned businesses. And in fact, the federal government has a special set-asides for veteran-owned businesses or entrepreneurs and SDVOSBs. What are the steps needed to do business with the federal government?
Number one, he has to find out who's his competition. Like, for example, I'll give you for Dix, we got Logistics Inc. Those are actually military-owned company. And all they do is actually put in a bid at the fort. And then if they win the bid, it's their contract. But they got to find out, the main thing is the competition, who actually is overbidding them or underbidding them.
Yeah.
And they've got the contracts. It's very simple.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Rafael, I know you are working with the New Jersey Small Business Development Center to help businesses with pandemic-related economic recovery resources. What role is the NJSBDC playing in the recovery effort, and what resources are out there for entrepreneurs?
So it's very interesting. In addition to the diversity efforts that the chamber does, I'm glad that you guys brought up the SBDC and the SCORE program. It is the best kept secret. Right now, there is a program under the funding that was just recently approved to assist businesses in navigating the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL resources, the state resources, basically anything that somebody could qualify for. All you would have to do is go to that Rutgers website, and we could share those resources with you so you can kind of blast it out to everyone. But it's all you have to do is register, and it is all doors lead to all services related to SBA. So SBDC professionals know people from SCORE, they know other programs, state, local, and otherwise. I think the hardest thing, and people have touched on it already, the hardest thing with veterans is we think in a very linear way. You know, the army of one is something that's very much embedded. So when you look at a lot of these programs, you're asking for assistance, and a veteran doesn't necessarily ask for assistance. He knows who his team is. He knows what the chain of command is. He knows where to get what he needs to get, and he knows what he or she is not going to get. It's all very like clearly laid out. So when they come out into the business world and they start to talk to their accountant, for example, and their accountant says, you should be an S Corp because it's better for taxes. But then they go to a different source and that person tells them you should be an LLC. And there's all this advice that they're being given, and nobody is assisting these businesses in coming up with their own plan on how to get there. And that's the biggest thing that I think that everyone is touching on. They need to formulate their own plan on how the business is going to roll out. There's not a linear plan. There's not a cookie cutter for veterans of businesses unless they're going to purchase a franchise. But most of them are trying to do some sort of service business. Being a business and being self-employed are two totally different things. And when a veteran comes out into the space and says that he wants to be a business, he has to decide to himself, do I want to own my job? So maybe he wants to be a franchise, or maybe he wants to limit the amount of money that he has and his responsibility, or does he want to grow an enterprise in an actual business? Right. Going to these SBDC centers helps them go through that process for free. Going through these programs like SCORE, where you have all these retired professionals that have done all the mistakes, like they said, now you have a sounding board and you could say, hey, I'm a veteran. I just started my business. I was thinking about going about it this way. You have all these resources at your disposal that says, these are the things that are going to occur if you go down that path. So maybe you want to, alter it somehow. Yeah. So I would definitely say SBDC has a lot of new programs that came out from the funding, but just basic counseling and consulting on anything that has to do with making themselves bankable, creating business plans, figuring out what the market research is. I mean, I know I spoke to the SBDC in Jersey City, and they're looking to bring a statistics professional or someone that can help with that market information. These are all very valuable services that you would have to pay for as a business, and they're offering these things to veterans for free.
Right. And you bring up a valid point because there are, once you decide you want to embark on a new business, you don't know where to begin. Are you going to be a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be a partnership? Are you going to be part of a franchise? So again, there's a lot of ground to cover, and the SBDC is certainly there for you. As a matter of fact, I do want to point out that there is an the Monmouth Ocean County SBDC is located on the in the Brookdale Community College campus. So, and I do know the director who works there. So if anyone is interested, please feel free to contact me, and I'll be happy to share that information with you. Thanks again. JT.
Mariela, can I add one last thing before you move
Absolutely.
on to the next topic? I just wanted to add that it's important for veterans to connect with people who have done their type of business, or especially have gone into the government space. On the federal level, I see and have spoken to a lot of veterans who partner with companies that take advantage of their veteran certifications. These veteran certifications are gold. And it's important for them to get together with guys like us, with professionals like us that care about them, and can warn them about those things, because you also have situations where they go for federal contracts. They're not really aware of how these partnerships work. You get a non-veteran company taking advantage of their certification, which is legal. And then once that relationship is done, they go from $9 million a year to $20,000 a year, and with no prep. So things like SCORE help them not have to experience those things. It's very hurtful. They've already served their country, and to come out and be taken advantage of, it's just not, it's disgusting, honestly. But it happens. So I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's not
wanted to
cool.
make sure
Well,
that they knew
Absolutely.
that.
I would even add, I think that I love everything that you just said. I would even add and encourage people to do a little bit of research before they actually sit down and have conversation with people at SCORE, so that you can think about the different questions you might want to ask. Because once you're there, of course, you're going to get a lot of information. You'll be able to have a conversation free flowing. But if you go prepared with questions, so that you can be very specific about what you really want to know and get ideas from that individual, you can really maximize your time with that individual that you're speaking with.
Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. JT, I'd like to approach the subject of mental health and the military. The military is really good at training people to be resilient, yet there is no doubt that many of those returning from service face challenges that make it difficult for them to ask for help when they need it. What are some of the steps towards healing that service members can embrace, and what resources are available?
I'm so glad you asked that, Mariella. Excuse me. I think it's a topic we don't talk about nearly enough. And whenever we talk about this, let's be candid, guys. We get a little bit skittish. We're talking about mental health issues and things that we tend to avoid as veterans. We tend to avoid talking about those things. And we also tend to convolute it wrongly with being broken somehow and something being wrong with us. I used to teach an undergraduate class on introductory psychology, and I would walk around the classroom and I would shake hands with all the students in pre-COVID days, of course, and I would introduce myself. And as I did, I'd say, "Hi, Dr. Kostman, I broke this hand 5 different times." And I'd say to one and the other, "I broke this arm twice, my arm." And I'd say all that, and they didn't care. They keep shaking my hand. And to one of them, I'd say, "And I was once institutionalized for mental issues." And man, they pull their hand right back, right? So we have such a stigmatization about it. It isn't true, but if it was, so what, right? If you have a cold, if you have a broken arm, if you have something wrong with you, you go and you see someone and you get some help and you get fixed. There should be no stigma attached to it. But that said, we veterans are particularly susceptible to these things, and not for the reasons you would expect. There's PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder. There's TBI, traumatic brain injuries, these sorts of things. But one of the things we tend not to think about is we have just left the tribe. Very much to Mira's point, we have been excised from a tribe, from a family, from being a part of something. We're now cast adrift. It's like that movie Castaway, right? With Tom Hanks. We're on the island and we're all alone. Well, not to get overly morbid about this, but what are the 3 most predisposing factors for suicide? And suicide, by the way, is higher among the veteran population than any population on Earth. We currently, the VA discounts it and they say it's 22 a day, which, sorry, we're veterans, you can accept the language, that's bullshit. I've done the numbers myself. It's closer to 36 veterans take their own lives every single day. Why? It's these 3 predisposing factors. Number 1, people who are not afraid to die. Well, there's not much we can do about that, right? That was trained into us. It's bred into us. I'll argue it's why we joined the military in the first place. We're not afraid of the idea of dying for something meaningful. We're stuck with that. But the other 2 factors that predispose someone to suicide, a feeling of aloneness. The feeling of thwarted belongingness is what it's called. I'm alone. It's just me. And number 2, perceived burdensomeness. I'm a burden. I'm not carrying my weight. Well, those 2 factors we also tend to be very predisposed to, right? As a consequence of being left alone, of being cut out of the tribe, on the one hand, that aloneness, and of being a burden, not feeling like we're carrying our weight, like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not fulfilling our mission. That is something that doesn't rest well with us. The good news is you've heard how you resolve for a lot of those things on this call. In particular, not to take any credit, and forgive me, I'm with the age, right? You know, Raphael in particular was talking about the fact that there are entities and organizations that have your back. And forgive me if I take a little bit of extra time here. I think this is critically important. Call me a cynic, but I've always said to myself, anyone who I have to pay doesn't completely have my back. I currently own several pretty big companies, and I have been a Fortune 50 executive in two different Fortune 50 companies, a C-level executive. I've had lots of lawyers and accountants and advisors and consultants, and if I pay them, their first obligation has to be to themselves, to getting paid.
Hired guns.
That's exactly it. And you always, and I'm not deriding them. I'm not saying, look, I still have lawyers working for my companies. I still have accountants who I pay, and they're great. But there's no one like someone who has your back who doesn't have to, right? That's what we miss about the military. That's what's available to you. That's what Raphael is talking about. That's what every person on this call is talking about, is we are a part of that tribe you can reach to, who can reach ourselves to larger tribes to have your back. And you know why? Not for a paycheck, because we care. The truth of it is, that intro that Mariella read about me, I didn't write that. My team wrote that for me, but it's a little embarrassing. But the truth is, you can't afford me. You couldn't afford to hire me to come work with you in your small business. But to call me as a SCORE volunteer, it's free. It costs you nothing. Why wouldn't you do that? Because that also goes exactly to the point Mariella raised of what are those things that really confront us, those issues that we need to be able to resolve. It turns out they're all resolvable by reaching to those resources. That said, one of the things the VA does extremely well, and I'm a disabled veteran, and I utilize their services for physical injuries that I sustained while in service, but their mental health counseling is top notch. It really is extraordinary. In my humble opinion, they don't reach out enough. It's more of a service model. They don't reach out to the population as much as they should, but when you reach to them, they're there for you. And it's, I don't have the ability to share links, but Mariella will send those links out. The one I'm referring to now is www.mentalhealth.va.gov. Absolutely, you have to promise me, even if you never use their services, when you get that link, you will click on it just so you will know it exists. If you ever need it, and by the way, it's there not just for you, but also for your spouse. If you are like I am, you're going to drive your spouse crazy on this entrepreneurial journey. I mean that figuratively, hopefully not literally. He or she may have to reach out. Those resources are there for them, for any veteran who is served. But the other one is SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, the organization I now volunteer with. If you want to send me an email, we're set. That's really all you have to do. And I'm also going to send you a link to score.org for resources for veteran entrepreneurs, specifically, particularly. The final thing I'll say is to sort of underscore and what both Mariella and excuse me, Kiana had said. Mariella had talked about the importance of training. Any of you who went through airborne school can't imagine jumping out of an airplane without first making a visit to Fort Benning and Fry Field, right? You don't just stand up, hook up, and jump out the door. Hopefully you get a little bit of training first, a couple of weeks. And yet we're jumping out of the airplane, metaphorically, on this new journey for us as entrepreneurs with zero training. You gotta be kidding me. The training is there, it's available for you, it's free. I'm a former business school professor. I taught in the MBA programs. I'm happy to tell you anything I told them, and it costs you nothing. All the people on this call have got a wealth of experience, a wealth of of mistakes they've made, they're willing to share with you to help you. The point I'll make though to what Kiana had said, I love her idea of doing a little G2, getting a little bit of intel before you walk in. But let me tell you, SCORE is set up very specifically, very particularly for you to be able to walk in saying, I don't know what I don't know. I know I want to open a hair salon, a flower store, or I want to create the next cutting edge solution in digital technologies. Whatever it is, you come in, you talk to your mentor, they will channel you to the mentor you're supposed to be talking to. And they will do the triage with you on their very first conversation and get you the help you need. Again, can't encourage you enough to avail yourself of those resources. That's the best way to overcome any of the challenges that you're facing as a consequence of frankly, I think the greatest disservice, and this is the final thing, the service ever did for any of us was when we mustered us out, saying goodbye and expecting we would just figure the world out. And I don't care if you served a year or a 40-year career, you don't deserve to be left all alone.
Absolutely. And you know what, you bring a very important point regarding veterans and the proportion of suicide, and not only suicide, but homelessness, which is another troubling troubling issue affecting veterans. And so with mental health, yes, it's a taboo subject, but there really is no shame. And there really are people who want to help out and do whatever they have to do to help you get through that hump. So thank you so much for that, JT, really appreciate it. So we've come to our closing question. What advice do you have for any aspiring or new entrepreneurs listening to this discussion? Any next steps you could suggest? And this is pretty much an open question to anyone who'd like to answer.
I'm going to jump in real quick. First of all, just to feed short and sweet off what JT said, when you bought that pimp ride that you just couldn't do without, you didn't throw it out because you got a flat. You fixed the flat and you stepped on. This is exactly the same on the mental health aspect. You know what? We're not throwing you away because you got a flat. We'll band together, and between us, we can lift the car if we have to. We've got your six. When you talk about SCORE and you look at this new tribe, this new team situation, veterans, we like to answer shop. So in lieu of that, find that voice, that person that you meet, that mentor, and let them know that's who they are for you. Don't just keep answer shopping, because you're going to get so confused with the 5,000 different opinions from 400 different people. And they're not you. These are about your shoes and your journey and your path. And to that end, NFCU, to touch back on what Ms. Kiana had said, NFCU, Navy Federal Credit Union, has got beaucoup stuff that you can capitalize on, including processing your payroll, business accounts, and oh yeah, it costs like $20 to open an account. It's super easy. They do ask you to have a federal EIN, but other than that, it's a piece of cake. And I'm going to let somebody else pick up incubators and accelerators, gentlemen, before we step off, because we do not want to miss those.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mitzi. So the bottom line, not every veteran with dreams of opening their own business does so. And a lack of funding, as was mentioned, is often the reason why. And please don't let financing issues stop you from pursuing your dream business and putting your skills to work for your community and society at large. And also, I just want everyone to remember, SCORE can give your business the edge you need to succeed. Their experienced business mentors, as JT mentioned, can help you with everything from writing a business plan, financing, to marketing your business, to hiring employees. It's easy and it's free. So all you need to do is just go to score.org. And you can work one-on-one with a mentor. You can also view their veteran and entrepreneurs resources or check out their webinar, Funding Options for veteran entrepreneurs. So panelists, thank you so much for your insights. It is greatly appreciated. And now I would like to turn it over to the audience. You can unmute your buttons. Again, it's on the bottom left-hand side of your computer. The panelists will be happy to answer any questions you may have or any comments that you want to share. So does anyone have any questions for our panel?
You know, Mariella, while we're waiting for these questions to come in, let me offer you, anyone who's listening, anyone on the call, the very best advice I've ever heard for entrepreneurs, which was the advice they gave me when I first joined Special Forces. It's the unofficial motto, and that is embrace the suck. It's gonna suck. I can tell you now that there are a few things you've ever done in your life that are more frustrating, more exasperating, more aggravating than starting a new business. But there are a few things that are more rewarding. You're making the decision to take control of your own life. You're making the decision to not be a wage slave and to be subject to the caprice of some other enterprise. Your family, your friends, everyone you know will tell you you're nuts, and they'll tell you you're taking all this risk. Nonsense. You know what's risk? Risk is working for a company that can decide on Monday they want to fire you because they don't like your haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
You have control of your own life, but it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Embrace the suck. Embrace the nasty parts.
Yeah.
Mariella, there's a question in chat from Jonathan Durkin.
Actually, Jonathan, I didn't want to put anyone on the spot, but I did want to reach out to Jonathan Durkin. Let me see, hold on. Oh, here we go. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, you have to unmute. Jonathan?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Jonathan, thank you so much. I got your email right before we started the roundtable. I'm glad you were able to join us. I know that you have a new startup that can help with veteran startups. And I know you wanted to reach out to our panel. So the floor is all yours.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so I'm actually I'm a small business owner in Long Branch and owner of Beach Bike Boys, but I'm starting a new venture, which is basically taking everything and my co-founder learned starting our small businesses and just putting it all into like a handbook, like a digital one with all the links and resources kind of as you go through, starting with like the idea phase. And you know, a lot of the stuff you mentioned, especially like SCORE and the SBA stuff is already in there. But what we're really interested in is kind of, since we're very early started, like in December, but the first version of the guide is written, and, you know, I would like to get that into the hands of some interested veterans for free. But really what we're trying to do is create a veteran specific guide as well, kind of tailored to veterans with all the resources. There was a lot of good stuff in here that I took some notes on that I'll kind of start following up on with. But basically my question is, you know, who would be the best people to kind of get that rolling and talk to get that started, basically?
Well, Jonathan, I don't know if I'll be able to address all the different resources, but I can tell you that where I serve as a board member, which is the New Jersey State Veteran Chamber of Commerce, we're interested in being that navigator and connecting agency. We started in 2018 with the first statewide veteran chamber. We're connecting with a lot of the local offices. We're developing something similar on the state level. We've already initiated last year a veteran-friendly campaign. We have 27 municipalities that have committed contractual percentages, job hiring, parking spaces, you know, the whole nine. We're working with your state legislators to pass bills like a price preference law, which allows veterans who bid on contracts, if they're 15% above the lowest bidder, they're still the lowest bidder. We're working with diversity offices. We helped digitize the disabled veteran application with the chief diversity officer, and now that's free at the state level. So I'm by no means saying that what you're doing is not necessary, but I would definitely coordinate with us because we might
Right.
be able to help you accelerate it. You know, we
Yeah.
just want to be a convener of a lot of this information, and we might be able to even add more resources to that. So I would definitely go to the our website is www.njveteranschamber.com. And if you'd like, Mariella has my contact information. If she wants to share that with you as well, you could just email me directly, and I can definitely connect you with the chamber leadership and see if we can help you get that moving.
Yeah, that'd be great because, you know, we got a lot of, we kind of were able to boil it down to kind of a lot of the basic steps, but also we wanted to make it streamlined and like hyperlinked so that, you know, when it's time to, you know, get a logo, you can just go. We have like, all right, you can go to our partner here. You can go to Fiverr for freelance services.
Like a network.
Or make your own here on this website. So, you know, we just want to put everything in like the most streamlined kind of place and have it all in one place. And, you know, being able to do that for veterans would be great, especially because there's so many resources like you were just listing off that are specific to them, but you know, it's tough to kind of even find out about them.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. And the marketing that all these, especially government organizations, do is horrible. I mean, they don't spend any money on marketing. The services are sometimes excellent. Getting the word out, government just doesn't do a good job. I don't think they will be doing a good job anytime soon. So we have to rally together around that.
You know what? Let me interject, Jonathan and Raphael. You bring up an important point. Something that Mariella didn't ask, so I'll ask us, is what's the most common reason that other entrepreneurs fail? All entrepreneurs fail. And you'll get various answers depending on who you ask. People will tell you it's an issue of cash flow, or it's an issue of insufficient capitalization, or your customer acquisition strategy isn't as effective as it might be, or you don't have an effective business plan. Nonsense. I have mentored and advised quite literally over 1,000 companies over the course of my career. I serve on the board of the Alchemist Accelerator, one of the biggest accelerators in Silicon Valley. I'm formerly part of the Open Innovation Center for Samsung. I have shepherded, I can't tell you how many companies. Do you know why most private companies don't make it? Because their founders are lazy, because they're unwilling to do the hard work. That is the one thing that we have over them in spades. There's not one veteran I've ever met who's afraid of doing the work, of doing hard work. It's not a lack of expertise and information and knowledge, as it might be if not for these sort of resources. When you hear not even the supposed experts who will call to this call, but now you hear someone like Jonathan chiming in who has no agenda here other than to say, you know what, you're my brothers and sisters, and I can make some of these resources accessible to you. But what he can't do is he's not going to call Fiverr for you and have them frame out a logo for you, right? For the normal civilian entrepreneur, that would be an issue. Oh, it's so much work, it's so much, and they're not going to do it. They're not going to put in the hard work. And to that point, no matter how hard your service was, and I got to tell you, been through the Q course, been through the hardest training the military has to offer, all due respect to those, my counterparts in the Navy who thought they were special forces. We were the real special forces. We worked hard in training. And I'll tell you, I work harder, far and away, being an entrepreneur and starting up a business.
Yeah.
What lets me succeed is I'm not afraid of the hard work. Same with all of you.
Watch it, Army. I was a CB.
I was the real military.
You know what, JT, you bring up a really good point because, yeah, and it wasn't oversaid on my part, but yeah, I should have mentioned that most startups last anywhere between 3 to maximum 7 years. Most businesses fail before the 7-year mark. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Well, you want a real statistic? 95% of small businesses won't make it And of those that do, only 40% will make it over $1 million in annual revenues, which means you're really talking about an insignificant number. The common denominator is candidly the same thing we told our kids. What did we tell our kids, all of us, when they were growing up? What's the difference between an A and a B? Hard work. Put in the time, put in the work. We're willing to do that. And the only other thing you need is the guidance, the advice, the expertise. And by the way, one of the things you'll hear in common from everyone in this call, we're not offering to be your cheerleader. We're not offering to tell you that you're brilliant, you're wonderful, and you're good looking. You probably are. We're here to tell you what you need to hear. That's what you need. You need guidance, advice, mentorship, a Sherpa who will tell you when your baby is ugly, tell you when your idea is terrible, and what you can do to make it better to be able to succeed. We're there for only one purpose, to make sure you succeed.
Yeah. Thank you. I do want to share some comments that the audience has posted from Ken Hart. He says, another resource that hasn't been mentioned is the Business Action Center. It's a state agency that advocates for businesses and will help you get formed and registered. And he also suggests a 1-800-Jersey-7. So thank you so much for that, Ken. And Sari, mentions we are offering an entrepreneurship incubator program for returning citizens, some of whom are veterans. Very good point. Yeah. This information today is very helpful and gives us more insight. And I'm going to reach out to you after the program because I am very interested in returning citizens. That's another topic that I want to explore. So thank you again, Anne. Any other questions or comments from the audience before we wrap up? No, actually, Jonathan, are you still with us, Jonathan?
Yep, I'm still here.
Hey, Jonathan, your name sounds so familiar. I have to ask, did you reach out to our Back to Business program? I think
Yeah.
I may.
I think I did for Beach Bike Boys.
Yes, I knew that name sounded so familiar. I actually, a couple of months ago, a couple of months later, I tried reaching out to you and there was no answer. I wanted to follow up with you, but thank you so much for joining us today. And again, if you want any of the resources mentioned today, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to share that with you. So Thank you, everyone.
Definitely.
All right. Before we go, any other last questions, comments? No. Panelists, thank you so much for your time. Thank you
having us.
for joining us. It
Thank
was
you.
very enlightening discussion, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Anytime, Mariella. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from some of the veterans looking for resources.
Absolutely. I have your contact information. I'll be happy to share that with our audience. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.